Bike touring burns a lot of calories, and a food budget can be very quickly exhausted by this. And wouldn't it be nice if you could go further on tour with your money? Lower costs, longer tours? Anyhow, I know a cheaper source of energy that can help you achieve this. Even if you're not a lowly 99%er and you don't have to worry about your budget much, this calorie source is actually very available. It's reliable. You can get it anywhere. It's not just cheap. Anyhow, this calorie source that I'm talking about is sugar. It's something that's cheap, simple, and sweet, and available, just like me. I'm talking about sugar here, not candy or cake or whatever that very forward lady downtown once tried to sell me. I mean table sugar, pure sucrose. Competitive cyclists do this all the time with their proprietary gels, drinks, and overpriced stuff. But for less than a toonie, I can get a kilogram of sugar and achieve the same effect. When I'm using a lot of energy, I use a lot of sugar. And maybe that sounds a little ridiculous or worries you, but don't worry about me, at least not about the sugar. We're on tour, so we need to eat a lot, which means we need an excess of something. And it's going to be ridiculous on paper no matter how you look at it. It's going to be an excess of fat, carbs, etc. And I know also when people talk to me about this stuff, it leads to an excess of opinions. I mean, to each their own, but I get a lot of people, okay, thanks genius, yes, of course, we're on tour, we need a lot of calories to get through, so just eat whatever you want, eat as much as you want. There are actually a lot more calorically dense things than sugar, so what are you talking about? Just eat a bunch of stuff. And to that I say, you're burning energy, but there's more to it than that. Ask anyone over the age of 30 what happens when you just indiscriminately eat anything, So I'll just leave it at that. And then there's the eat everything in moderation people. Listen, moderation isn't going to get us anywhere. Bike touring is excessive. We need an excessive amount of energy. And you know what? Everything by definition is excessive, so it's not moderate. And it also includes the word everything, which means that it includes the set of all things not moderate. Your motto has a contradiction. QED. Anyhow, there's also the health-conscious crowd, right? Oh no, sugar, inflammation, insulin resistance, all that stuff. Well, I'm an overthinking, orthorexic hypochondriac, and I used to think that about sugar too. I've always checked every food label, is it organic, non-toxic, etc. Is this weird chemical in there? And I always get these from people, I always get these smug comments like, oh, you're scared of chemicals, are you? I bet you didn't know about dihydrogen oxide. It can kill you in large quantities. You get that kind of smug comment, right? Now, the tables have turned, Brandon. I've seen you being timid about a little sugar. Sugar is just a disaccharide of glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose and sucrose, sucrose being the sugar, is found in large quantities in fruit. Fruit's healthy. So it's just a chemical. But, of course, you may argue, what about the fiber? There's no fiber. If you're just eating sugar, you're not getting fiber with it. Well, there's a simple solution to that. You can mix it with juice, put it on fruit, whatever. Then we have fiber with it. And nutrients, too, right? Makes it taste better, too. So what's the difference, really? There's probably a lot of difference. But still, we're making a compromise here for cost. This isn't all about healthy, And also, the crime syndicate grocery stores have subpar fruit that's underripe. It's kind of nice to be able to add the sugar there, especially if you live in a place like Canada where they do that to you. They put the little underripe fruit in the bottom of the bag, trick you with the one ripe one. Top, you can take the subpar fruit, you can put the sugar on it and make it better. But think about this. Would you rather eat all those calories and fruit or just take the sugar directly? Have you ever thought about what it's like to poop out 37 bananas? It's getting really dark now. The days are so short. My hands are getting cold, a little nippy. Why do I do this outside? Because I love nature and I don't want you to see my living condition. Now, what about inflammation? Does sugar cause inflammation? So fruit doesn't cause inflammation, and the sugar's part of fruit. So maybe did you ever think it's the stuff that usually comes with sugar in our modern society, like all the grease and oils and stuff, the additives, screeching children? Maybe those cause the inflammation. And then what about blood sugar? What about blood sugar spikes? Well, I'm on tour. I want a blood sugar spike. I want that fast energy to go to my leg cells so I can go up the hill, right? So I want a blood sugar spike. And the spike is only bad if it stays high and you don't use it up, right? That's insulin resistance, right? So if you eat the sugar with fat, that's going to slow your insulin response. The insulin's what helps the sugar get into the cell and give the energy. And if you're slowing the insulin response, you're going to get a backup of sugar in the bloodstream and then have a sustained high blood sugar. And that's not good. So what we do is we keep the fat separate from the sugar. So we want carbs and fat separate. So maybe have the fat towards the end of the day if you're going to have fat. But the solution is to keep the fat low. So if you have too much fat with the sugar, you're going to feel a bit sluggish or have whatever symptoms you get when you have insulin resistance, right? That comes with a lot of downsides. But maybe you don't care. I care. I care about you. Anyhow, all that's being said, you might still be asking things like, oh, are you sure sugar isn't bad? Well, here's the thing. Again, this isn't about health. I went off on this huge health tangent, but really this is about a cheap, reliable fuel. This is not a health recommendation. This could be horrible for me. Maybe I'm burning up all my cells. Like, you know how you put more wood in the fire, it burns hotter. Maybe I'm burning up my life. I'm having too many calories. I'm going to age faster. These crow's feet. You can't see them now. It's dark. But so maybe, whatever, it could be bad, but am I sure? No, I'm not sure. I just know I need fuel on bike tour and I have a choice between carbs or fat. I'm going to take the carbs because I'm not going to go up those hills on keto, am I? Right? So sugar is my way to get the fast energy to the cells. And then you might think something like, oh, but sugar's bad for your teeth, right? Well, just brush your teeth. Brush your teeth, you'll be fine. It's acids that you have to worry about anyway. Maybe some baking soda or something and neutralize that. I don't know. But brush your teeth, have normal hygiene like a normal adult. And then the one thing you might say is, are you sure this isn't some sort of dietary trend you're trying to push? And I will say this. I will say, I'm a vegan, and I have to tell people that at least 6 or 7 times per day. But no, this is not me trying to push a dietary trend. There is a lot of overlap with my vegan diet. High carb is very popular trending right now, high carb, low fat. And that's pretty much what this is. But I don't want to be a cult leader about it. I don't want to start a cult, at least not about that. If you have any ideas, you could let me know. Comment below, like, subscribe, if you would start a cult with me. I love you.